Okay, felt like it was a productive bye week. Couple of practices, emphasizing some things and getting ready for Penn State. At the same time, taking some blows off the body, a little time away. Some recruiting on the weekend. We did go yesterday. Pretty good. That's a little bit different than maybe normal Sunday because of the bye week, and now we're into a normal week where we're back going tomorrow. I give some credit to these guys in regards to. I thought they practiced with enthusiastic energy. Sometimes that's created because everybody's getting reps during the bye, and some of the younger guys that are continuing to grow, get turns. That was good. This Saturday we will recognize our seniors because it is the last time they're going to run out Spartan Stadium, and so having that take place, I think, adds emphasis to the preparation to the group. Want to send these guys out on the right note, but we will be celebrating those guys this Saturday before the game. Quick again, as we look back on the last time we lined up against Minnesota, the first half, Alessio, obviously the sacks caught up to us. A couple of them schematically we didn't recognize or have the correct adjustment, but ultimately we lost some one-on-ones and one there. I do think the halftime adjustments offensively were sound, solid. Bullard making a play early in the half gave us some momentum back. Overall, I thought Alessio played tough. Stood in there, made a few throws under duress, but there were still some things to clean up. We got to do a better job in the red zone a couple of times down there, settling for field goals, and then obviously we're going to make some field goals too. Defensively, there's a long stretch of that game. We're playing at a high level, tackling well in the right gaps. We just got to be able to finish well. And then you look at the last 2-minute drive, and then in overtime, giving up 2 scores there. Got at it some technique that turned into some penalties that helped them, but there was a lot of good football on the defensive side. We just got to find a way to finish better. Hoping to have a couple of guys back on the injury front, and Mekhi Frazier, McCray, both those guys have practiced now. Optimistic for their availability this weekend. Ruquan Buckley the same way, so hoping to get those guys back this Saturday. And then you move forward to a good, talented football team in Penn State. You look at them on tape, their talent jumps off the screen. I mean, from all phases, offense, defense, got some talent, line of scrimmage, front seven defensively active, good again on pass defense. Offensively, they challenge you schematically, they throw a lot at you. And you call it some similarities, but these guys last 6 games, 5 of the 6 one-score games. They are right there, especially this last Saturday. We know how good Indiana is for them to go down to the wire like that and that dramatic catch in the end zone. So we know what's headed into here is a good competitive team that's talented, that we're looking forward to that challenge on Saturday. Questions?
Jeff, I was wondering at the quarterback position after Minnesota, you said, you weren't committed to a starter. Is it going to be Alessio or Aiden, or is that switch?
Similar, we're going to let that continue to go through the week. Again, both those guys' skill sets present some positive things, so we're going to let that play out again this week.
I'm wondering when you did get through the bye week and everything, and you got a chance to see some of the young guys that got to play on the offensive line, how did you feel like they did in terms of some of the adjustments they made in game in particular, and just overall performance?
Yeah, the adjustments and just a clearer communication. We had a couple snaps where actually they're being too aggressive and they missed their block because they're kind of trying to be knocking the guy way off the ball, and we just whiff. Again, schematics, the type of scheme we chose in the second half versus the first half in regards to the protection calls we're making, there were some better choices there. And so all of that built into, I think, a better second half.
Jonathan, could you use 2 quarterbacks with certain packages, or do you believe there's a quarterback and then there's a backup?
Yeah, I think that's not outside the consideration because Aiden's skill set in a package and Alessio's in a package. That's not outside our thinking. We haven't decided on that. I do like the idea of a guy getting a chance to go out there and find some rhythm, and sometimes that takes multiple series in a row. But it's all on the table right now.
And when you find teams like we saw with Indiana and Oregon that make those big rushes at the end, or teams that have games and then they slip away, is that talent or is that more of a mindset and the habit of winning?
Yeah, I think it's all of it. There's the capability to focus, concentrate, trust your technique when the game's on the line at the end of it, and some of that is the talent that you have. Credit to Indiana for finishing the way they did. That was that long drive, and really starts us going backwards. So there's both a mindset and some talent there.
To Jack's question about the quarterback situation, did you ever use 2-in-1 drive, like aiding in the red zone sort of thing, in certain scenarios? Would you go to that extent? Have you ever done that before, and would you consider that sort of?
Well, that's a consideration, because like you said, both guys' skill sets, you can use that whether, I don't know if it's multiple plays in a row, or if you get a quarterback going and there's a particular play a guy comes in the game. People have seen it, both guys in the game at the same time. And so all of that is, a potential. We'll see what gives us the best chance on Saturday, though.
And as you get late in the year beyond, outside of the 4 games left, are there any young guys that you think at this point you might see that you haven't? And a guy like Jason Parizio, who early in the year was banged up and never really found, is he sort of not going to play this year? What is sort of his situation?
Particularly Jace, yeah, it's been an injury thing the entire time, and getting himself to availability. I think about some of the younger guys that have come along. I think about Charles Tablet catches his first catch last week. You can see some more of him. But again, want to be right in regards to how much he's playing. He's a true freshman, redshirting, but now he's played in 1 game, so you can see him all 3. We've got a couple of guys like that have come along selectively, true freshmen that maybe play a little bit, but also want to be doing right by them in regards to a redshirt. So that there's a couple of Bryson Williams I think about has got some contribution. You might see him in another game here at the end.
Jonathan, right here in the middle. This question is revolving on senior night. Are there any specific moments this season where you saw the impact of senior leadership on the younger players?
Oh yeah, without question. I think about some of those guys that are going to run out: Sam Edwards, Malik Spencer, Darius Snow, bringing younger guys along, especially even like motivation in practice. I think all 3 of those guys practice. Whatever younger guy makes a mistake, hadn't gone his way, those guys are right there to help him, bring along, point out how you can get it fixed. Still supportive. We've got a lot of that in our culture right now.
Jonathan, I'm curious, what do you want to see from your team in these next three games, just from like a bird's eye view of the total program? What do you want to see in these next 3 games?
I want to see the continued competitive spirit they've had. I want to see us be able to finish at the end of the game. These guys are working so hard. They put a lot into this thing. Yeah, I want to see the scoreboard being on the right side of it, so we can celebrate in the locker room. I feel like those guys deserve it because of the continued belief, competitive spirit, how hard they're playing, how much work they put into it. I'd love to be able to, for them, to be able to celebrate at the end of the game.
John, I'm wondering, when you over the bye week, did you run with mostly the same blueprint, or like when it's getting late in the year and it's been sort of a tough year, was there anything you tried to tweak to try to just create a little spark, or like keep heads up, or anything a little different?
Yeah, well, what was a little bit different, just the rep count, how many, right? You're going into week, whatever this is, game 10, and so the rep count was lighter than 5 weeks ago when we had our last week. We did blueprints similar Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday focused on ourselves, Thursday focused on our, Penn State, the next opponent. The spark does come with the guys that don't get a lot of reps. They got to scrimmage a little bit on Wednesday. Spark came kind of from that.
And then I know this is going a little bit back in time, but I'm wondering, we never got to ask you on the record about whether the Big Ten got you guys any feedback on the Michigan play, and I'm wondering also if there's any similar feedback requested with like the Minnesota touchdown where it appeared maybe you stepped out.
Yep. Similar feedback in regards to you turn these things in for a deeper look in their interpretation. This particular one in Minnesota, I actually talked to Bill on the phone on it. Big picture or how he saw it, that call, 50-50, could go either way. The mechanic on how it was then operated after the call was made, they want to do that better.
About the Michigan one with Malcolm, I know this is a while ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Did they get back to you guys?
Yeah, they saw it, could have been a different outcome, different call. And again, I'm not here to chuck these guys on the bus in the officiating. This thing ain't simple. These are bang plays. These are 300-pound athletes flying around. There's 22 of them. At the same time, getting those things right make a difference in games. So, but the protocol in regards to after the game, you turn it in. What do you see there? And we're trying to learn at the same time. They anticipated the guy being offsides, and on tape probably wasn't.
Jonathan, when teams have crushing losses like yours did at Minnesota and like Penn State just did, sometimes that's a last gasp and it's a downward spiral. Other times it inspires them to see how close they really are.
Mhm.
How you make sure your group is the latter.
Yeah, I think when you look at the history of what we've done the last 5-6 weeks, I'd say the same for Penn State, of being able to line up and go the next time. You know, we say these words, and we're focused on the process, not just focused on the results. And if it's truly you're focused on the process of work, appreciation, still enjoying, knowing how close you are, I think all that adds to motivation to line up again on Saturday, and I think both teams will.
Two quick things. One, when you look at Penn State, when you come off an emotional game like they had, as a coach, how do you expect what's next? You know, whether it be a resurgence or a potential letdown with the way their season has gone. And the second question is, have you had anybody that has said they're shutting things down to enter the portal yet?
Well, on the first part of that, like, I can't speak with deep knowledge of Penn State besides what I see on tape, and those guys are playing really hard, they're really talented, the challenges schematically, and so what we get in week out, what I've seen on Penn State, those guys, there's no letdown on that side. Those guys are going, prepared, competing, nonstop. We haven't had the second part in regards to guys shutting it down, no. In regards to the focus, still wanting to contribute. Do we got some body blows, some guys down, wish they could go, and on the injury side and all those things, sure. We're in week 10, but we've had a lot of guys that are still giving 100% effort all in.
Excuse me, you mentioned recruiting during the bye week. How different, or what's the challenge when you're recruiting on a 16 losing streak versus before the season, and you know, as far as what you can pitch and what you can sell?
Yeah.
And
You know, you talk about other recruiting, there's challenges in what you're selling. Obviously, every recruiting is about opportunity and what you're coming into. We've got a lot of guys that we're recruiting that want to be on the field and want to compete right away, and there's an opportunity with that. Still reselling a vision of how we're establishing this thing, how we're going about it. And I think it's a part of recruiting, especially on the parent side, of talking about this ain't easy, right? This is Big Ten, top of the line football. That, you know, how are you gonna operate when it doesn't go your way once in a while? And I think there's something to be said in how we're operating and still coaching and developing and all in on these players. Thanks, guys.
Question about Minnesota, I mean, was that, when they said they wanted to do the mechanics of it better, was that talking about the pass interference call?
That they picked up, yeah.
The flag that they picked up?
How delayed, you make a call like that that's 50-50, and then for the announcement and the ball to get spotted and us to line up in a formation, and then go turn that back, that mechanic could have been way better.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.